This building was used as a jail from 1911 until 1982, January 26, 1982. The prisoners were moved from this building into the new Law and Justice Center. It was that very day we received the keys for the building and started preparing the building for a Gallatin County Pioneer Museum. You just came through the door that was part of the jail. It took 3 keys. This door automatically locked, and we had the locks removed. But we have kept the door so you can see you are now in the jail. This is a room where they did the fingerprinting and booked the person or took down their record. We also have the pictures of all the sheriffs that served in Gallatin County. It was here that Seth Danner was hanged. He killed 2 people about 10 or 12 miles from here, and he was hung here July 18, 1924. 22 people were here by invitation. The little enclosed booth here is where the visitor came when he came to visit a prisoner. The prisoner came in to the opposite side of that double screen by way of the cell block, and you visited with him through that double screen. Now, if you'll notice, there are also a bunch of keys hanging here behind this glass. These were some of the keys that opened the cells. Then, if you look down the narrow hall that goes to the west, that is where the food came through. The sheriff's wife cooked for the prisoners. After we were in this building, we were here 3 years before we got the jail part. We had the sheriff's office in the room upstairs where we kept our Historical Society records. And the prisoners were still in this end. But after the sheriff had moved to the Law and Justice Center and the judges were over there, the prisoners then were taken to that area. They were handcuffed to an officer and taken out the front door and put into a car and taken to the new location. Now, the little booth that you see next to the shower room on the south wall was originally padded cell for the insane. Later, this room was used for two-way equipment for the sheriff's officers. Now, as you entered the big cell room, you will see to your left one cell that we have kept. There's a picture on the wall that shows there were 4 cells just like this on each side with a walkway in the middle where there was a shower and a toilet and a sink. It was here that the prisoners were held before they were sentenced. If they were sentenced to serve time in the building, then they were removed to what we called the bullpen. These 4 poles that are now holding up our balcony, which was built here in 1985, were what held up the large cell block, or the bullpen. And up to 30 men were in there in this one room at a time, serving time. Now, if you'll notice, clear in the back is the isolation cells. These were patented in 1874. They're a unit that was used up until the jail was no longer used. It was used for a junk tank or for very unruly prisoners. or even for some that might be suicidal. And then they were placed in there without any clothing or anything in which to harm themselves. It was always adequately heated from the courthouse. Now, this room is now our exhibit room. The last 2 years, we have done a great deal of work. We have put in a back ramp, double doors. A jail only has one front door and no back doors. So we had to do that to bring in supplies and to work. We have made a workroom. The reason the isolation cells, there are only 2 little ones, is because we took off 2, turned the entire unit so there was room to have a workroom. We will take you up the narrow upstairs stairway. The first room to your right was the original cell room for the work detail prisoners. These were the prisoners that worked in the daytime and spend their nights and weekends here. The next room is the room that was a juvenile cell room for juvenile boys. Then we will go into the women's ward, and this is where the women prisoners were held. This room was the only room that had a bathtub or a bathroom as far as prisoners' convenience. Now, as you go to the west side of the room, you will notice we made an opening here through the 16-inch wall into what was the sheriff's living quarters. They had their bedroom upstairs here. And by the way, this building is also on the National Historic Register, as a plaque on the outside of the building will show. The money that we have used to renovate the building has cost us almost $50,000. Has been mostly in donations, contributions, and did include one $20,000 grant from the state of Montana.